Well, good morning, blessed and highly favored of the Lord. This is Pastor Jay reporting to you from the vicarage. I am standing in the vicarage gardens early this morning, just bringing you this vlog before the day starts. This morning the day started at about, I guess it was probably 3:30, 4 o'clock. I managed to get up. I spent quite a bit of time in prayer. I've walked the dogs a couple of times, gotten myself dressed, and I'm actually getting ready to head out to a Star Wars marathon with someone from our church. It's been an awesome week. We've had so many opportunities to just, I've just been so blessed this week by so many things. We had our service last night. It was our opening service. I talked to you a little bit about it before the service yesterday. And last night was our opening midweek connection for the fall. We've been off for the summer, taking some summer time, and last night we started in, and we've begun with, we're starting with 3 nights of prophetic prayer and worship. And so Brenda and myself and a couple of other ladies and my good friend Jody Clapp got to lead worship last night, and Pastor Dan brought a prophetic word that was just so powerful. And the Lord led us, it was interesting that we talked about what we did yesterday in love, because God kind of led us down a pathway last night to practice some of the things we talked about. So we were in a season of just releasing praise over the land. Remember how I said yesterday that love, faith is activated in an atmosphere of love. And that if we lack faith, what we have to do, if our faith feels small, if our faith feels bound up, then the way to release that faith is to practice loving people, because faith is released and built and strengthened in an atmosphere of love. So last night, the Lord took us down a pathway where we began to pray for and bless our enemies, like Jesus said to do in the Gospels. And so the whole congregation, I just asked them to begin everyone knows who their enemy is, who's opposing them at the moment. And I began to ask our congregation to pray for their enemy. They're the ones who were opposing them in life. And I asked them to pray specifically, to pray blessing and joy and peace and salvation upon their lives in order to release bound up faith. And then after we had released bound up faith, we entered into this season of just praising over the land and beginning to release praise and glory over our land and release faith over our land for salvation and healing and deliverance of the region. And I believe that God is going to bring those things. I believe that Cornerstone Church is getting ready to enter into a season of mighty harvest. And I am looking forward to what God is going to do there. Today, I want to talk about a couple of other weapons of our warfare. We're moving on from love because we've spent 18 sessions on that. And now in session 19, we're going to begin to talk about the weapons of joy and peace. Now, these are the weapons. Joy and peace are the forceful weapons of our warfare, where love sort of creates a foundation and moves underneath and around and over everything as sort of an atmosphere. Joy and peace are very powerful and practical tools with which we approach life. And that is because joy and peace are connected to our confession. The Bible says in Isaiah, "They shall go forth with peace and be led forth with joy. The mountains and the hills will break forth before you. There shall be shouts of joy, and all the trees of the field will clap their hands." Now that's a poetic verse, but I want to say that what it speaks about is how joy and peace activate blessing in a land and begin to move obstacles out of the way. If you've got obstacles in your way, it's the weapons of joy and peace that you need to begin to use. Now, we all know what joy is. Joy is a sense of happiness, a sense of well-being, a sense of gladness. And peace is a sense of cessation from war or battle, sort of. But in Hebrew, the word is shalom, which isn't a cessation from battle necessarily, but it's a sense of completeness, a sense of wholeness. And so I want to look at it from that standpoint, that peace is a sense of, I have everything I need. I have all the provision I need. Peace does away with the sense of lack. And so if you feel like, if you're afraid right now, and you're afraid, and one of the big fears that many Christians face is the fear of lack, the fear of not having enough or not being enough. And I want to say that if that is a fear, if that's what you're fighting right now, that fear, then you need to begin to use the weapons of joy and peace. Well, we've run out of time today, but we've introduced the subject, and tomorrow we'll talk more about joy and peace as weapons of our warfare. Have a great day. Bye-bye.